Hi, everyone. I am Heather Freed, and I am the founder and CEO of Freed Leaders. I help small nonprofit leaders overcome their overwhelm and create mission momentum. So, if that's what you're interested in, you are in the right place. So, I work with nonprofits, small to medium size, under $5 million budget, and fewer than 50 employees. And the leaders I work with tend to have the titles executive director, chief executive officer, and things of that nature. So when folks come to me, usually the state they're in is feeling overwhelmed and out of control. Often I hear that they feel like they're constantly putting out fires and they're sort of on a hamster wheel without being able to move forward and make progress. For this reason, a lot of times leaders are afraid of failure. They are feeling inadequate, like they're not the right person for the job. Oftentimes, either or both the staff and the board are not performing and meeting expectations. Very often, I hear the staff or the board are not on the same page as the leader, so not understanding or not agreeing or not listening. And usually the organization has hit a ceiling when it comes to growth. So the things that used to work are no longer working. Sometimes, if it's a new leader coming in, the things that the organization did prior, they're finding are no longer working. And so there's a need for innovation and doing something different. And generally, there's just this feeling of not enough time and not enough resources to do the job and to do the job well. And so leaders often feel like work isn't fun anymore. It feels like a chore. And this is a career and a field that used to bring a lot of passion and excitement. And so trying to make all of these things work and trying to kind of push and move the needle forward has caused many of the leaders I work with to find that their personal life is being affected. Either their health's declining or relationships are being impacted, and they're ready to reach out. And so there's really two types of nonprofit leaders that I want to talk about. The first is the salmon, which we're going to talk about first, and then the second is the dolphin, which we'll talk about second. So, salmon leaders are the kinds of leaders that they believe I make things happen, which is a wonderful quality. They're hard workers, individual achievers, and they get things done. They sort of carry the organization on their back. They're involved in everything. If there's any problem, they figure a way to fight through it, push through it. The way a salmon swims upstream. So, if you know anything about salmons in the wild, they do their entire spawning journey from the ocean up the river, kind of moving in the opposite end of the current. And it's a real struggle. And so, like the salmon, oftentimes a lot of them don't even make it, to the finish line, to the spawning process. Our salmon leaders, a similar fate can happen too. So there's high levels of stress because of all of the will, all of the pushing, all of the resistance, all of the stress, and high levels of burnout because of it. On the other hand, we have dolphin leaders, and these are leaders who kind of carry the belief that I allow things to happen through me. So I am a vessel for energy and momentum and good things to happen through me. My job is to show up, my job is to be open, and my job is to move with the current. And so these are people who generally understand that in order to get things done, they may need to move slow at first in order to move fast. And so getting people on the same page, collaborating is what they're good at, and they're good at kind of collective achievement. They tend to be able to kind of read situations and get a sense of where they need to be putting their energy. So they focus energy in areas where there's opportunity. And instead of pushing against problems and barriers, they just have that more positive spin on things. And they tend to have a lot of success. They also tend to be leaders who have a lot of longevity in their careers and tend to enjoy the work they do a whole lot more. So if you're with me so far, I would imagine that there's a part of you that maybe feels like you're a bit of a salmon, or maybe too much of a salmon, or maybe more of a salmon than you are a dolphin. And so Let's talk a little bit about how you got here because they're for some really wonderful reasons. First and foremost, you're responsible and compassionate, which are incredible qualities that you need to have as a nonprofit leader. The problem is that you can lean too far on the scale, and it can look and start to feel like self-sacrifice, that you're putting yourself and your health on the line to move the organization forward, and it's just not a sustainable leadership style. And so part of this work is being able to identify maybe some of the internal blocks and identities that you carry with you, perhaps unconsciously, that are preventing you from taking that next step and fully stepping into your calm, confident, authentic leadership style. You're also a high achiever. You're somebody who gets it done. And again, this is an incredible quality and nothing I'd be asking you to stop doing. But sometimes getting to the next level takes more than that. It takes more than the will to succeed and putting in the work. It also takes having a really great system. And so, what we want to work on, and what I do, is I help leaders develop that system that allows your organization to run successfully without all of your personal effort, time, and energy. So that you can focus on being a wonderful leader and being creative and doing the other things that you need to be doing. So that's really what my practice is all about. I am at my heart a teacher and a coach, and I'm really about supporting leaders and supporting the adoption of first teaching leaders holistic wellness practices. Practices that allow you to show up the way you want to show up at work and be that calm, confident leader that you're meant to be and your organization needs you to be. I also help you implement an effective operating system so that, again, you've got this whole system that sort of runs on its own and creates the momentum that you need to make the change you seek in your organization for your community. And so this system has four parts. First is about leading yourself or leading the leader. The second is about leading your team. The third, leading the vision. And finally, leading the progress. So, module one, leading the leader, the things that you will anticipate and be able to, walk away from is ending your overwhelm. We work on protocols and inner work to really help you let go of some of the things that are creating the overwhelm and make space for more creativity and calm within yourself. Being able to be peaceful and strong, even when everything around you doesn't feel that way. So we work on also overcoming a lot of internal barriers to find confident leadership. Again, a lot of old stuff is what we bring into our current life, and so we want to address some of that and let it go. We're also talking about helping you really become a master of your time and energy. So, this isn't just about packing in the most amount of things you can in a day. It's about knowing what to do and when and why and showing up, in your best energy through some other practices that you can be doing. And so that's what it takes to be highly effective. And finally, what we help you do is really step into your zone of genius. Loving your job and being really good at your job is about doing what you do best and what makes you feel good. And that's what's going to bring your A game to your organization and keep you there for many years to come. The second piece to this module two is leading your team. And there's sort of four things that we hope to have you walk away with. Well, we know you will walk away with, but hopefully you will agree that these are important things that you need to walk away with. The first is being able to diagnose and resolve people problems. If you're a leader, you know that this is like most of what you do, and the number one problem usually always on your mind. And so there's a few things that can happen when people are, kind of causing some friction in the organization. So we help you diagnose those things and resolve them on your own. So we give you a formula to be able to do that quickly. We also help you to create a system for being able to know if a board or staff member is a good fit for your organization and how to assess their performance properly through a basic framework. We help you keep your team focused. So we'll go through a process of getting everybody some core priorities and a system for keeping people on track with them. And then finally, we help you implement some practices that throughout every aspect of your organization really cultivate this culture of trust, not only with you, but with each other, care, compassion, for each other, and growth, both this importance of growing personally, but everyone being committed to seeing the organization grow. The third model is about leading the vision. So we help you first kind of assess where you're at, where your organization's at, what you need. We work a lot on helping you discover your core impact area. So this is what you do better than everybody else, and it's what you never want to lose sight of as an organization. Um, Another really exciting thing you'll walk away with is this two-page strategic plan. And for those of you who have been through any type of strategic planning, this may seem impossible. You may not know if it works, but I've done this with multiple organizations, and not only does it work, it's clear, it is effective, and people actually use it. And that's the biggest problem with strategic planning is nobody friggin' looks at the thing after it's done. And so we help you distill it to the most essential elements that everyone can understand and embrace. We also help everyone on your team be able to effectively communicate value with stakeholders. So we'll help you kind of distill how you speak about your organization to your various stakeholders. Oftentimes in corporate America, this looks very different for us. We have many, so we need to be able to talk about what we do and what's important about what we do in a language that each stakeholder understands and needs to hear. And finally, we walk you through a system for making really good strategic decisions. And so it's, again, a system and a formula that we help you learn so that as you're planning and as you move through your leadership journey, you know what questions to be asking and how to move your team through a strategic decision making process. The last module is about leading the progress. And I would say module 1 and module 4 are what make us unique. The entire process is needed, like all 4 elements of this is needed in order to feel healthy, whole, calm, balanced, confident, and really have the pieces in place to make the change and the movement you want to see. But a lot of times with other consulting or coaching practices that work with leaders, they kind of miss part 1, or they only do part 1 and they don't do the rest of this. Many of them don't do this last part. And so, oftentimes maybe you have the skills, but you don't have the framework, or you've got this vision and this framework, but you don't have the last piece, which is really helping to the rubber to meet the road and ensuring that all these things that you've put into place actually continue to happen day in and day out. And so this fourth module is about making the progress happen. So we will work on getting you developed and implementing a standardized process for all the parts of your organization. We help you create an accountability dashboard. So we'll teach you how to do that and how to make sure everyone in your organization has a stake in it and is accountable to it. We walk you through a framework for being able to not only identify what the issues in your organization are, but how to go about solving them and figuring them out in real time so that you are making progress and movement, because the best organizations in the world are extremely good at problem solving. But most importantly, they are getting to the root of the problem first. Oftentimes, organizations are dealing with the surface problem and they need to go 2 to 3 levels deeper in order to truly understand what's wrong and start moving forward. We're also going to help you lead change effectively. So, going through this process, you're going to be making some changes. You're going to be making some changes to how you do things, how you run meetings, how you do reporting, um, maybe even some changes to how you conduct your programs, perhaps. And so, we help you be able to identify where the tension is and help move people through the change in a way that feels supportive and validating and where everyone feels heard. And finally, we help you conduct highly effective meetings that people love to go to. Oftentimes, we think we have too many meetings, and that's actually not true. We have too many boring meetings where people who are there shouldn't be there or are talking about topics that are irrelevant. And so the reality is we need more meetings that are more specific, have less people at them, and have the correct agenda and have a good amount of tension where you're working through problems and you're really feeling like your seat at the table is not only needed but important, and you're getting important work done. And so we help you figure out what those meetings should look like, who needs to be there, and all that good stuff. And so, how do we do this? Well, this program is designed to be taught and supported over a 12-month process. And so, what that looks like is, as a potential client, as a potential participant in the program, you will receive a short weekly audio lesson every week. It will be 10, 15 minutes, maybe a little bit of thinking or questions to answer, or a little exercise that you need to go through in addition. Something you can listen to in your car on your way to work or on your way home, or maybe working out. So, something really practical. um, Weekly live group coaching calls. So you and your peers will get together. There'll be plenty of time. It's Q&A format. People can ask questions about the material, what they learned, what they need help implementing, and you can get your questions answered one-on-one from me, with people being able to see and hear, and you being able to see and hear their questions too. And so there's a group learning experience happening. You'll also receive unlimited one to one support from me via Messenger. So, 5 days a week in the morning, I check messages and help people one on one with the things they're struggling with. So, think of me as your personal on demand coach, supporter, mentor, trainer, teacher extraordinaire. And finally, you get access to our 24/7 supportive community. It's a group of your peers who are going through the same process. They're all nonprofit leaders leading a similar size organization. So you kind of have this built in support system because, as we all know, leadership can feel really lonely, and it shouldn't. So, why should you listen to me? Well, I've spent over 10 years as a non for profit CEO. I've led two successful nonprofits that were in different positions, and I can talk a little bit about what their needs were here in a minute. But I've walked in your shoes. I've been in your seat, and I know what the struggle feels like, and the struggle is real. I get it. I'm also a mental health therapist. So I have 12 years as a licensed mental health therapist. I actually still see mental health clients. And so, personal care, personal well being, this is also a passion of mine, which is why I'm combining the two in this program. I really believe leaders need to be emotionally supported just as much as they need the practical tools to take care of business. And so, in my life as a nonprofit CEO, I took my first nonprofit CEO position at age 29. I came in wide eyed. I was excited. I had all the ideas. I worked my tail off and I nearly burnt out. We had a lot of success, but we encountered a lot of the problems I talked about earlier, people not on the same page, hitting a growth ceiling. Personally, I was worn out, relationship strained, getting sick. And so I needed some solutions. And I spent years, and years getting mentored, taking training, certification courses, reading every leadership book you can imagine, all the greats, dozens of them, doing my own therapy. And there really wasn't anything out there that gave me everything I needed. And so that's what this program has really been all about. So, at the first nonprofit I led, we were a small local startup. And through using the system I'm talking about teaching you, I was able to serve 1,500 individuals the first year. And by the fifth year, we were serving 83,000 individuals a year. And a lot of that was through program innovation and going through this process. We also were able to grow our annual revenue by 44%. So, really great changes within that organization. The second organization I ran was a national mentoring organization, and they were in a bit of a different spot. When I took on their CEO role, they were in a bit of a stagnation and decline phase. They had a few leaders in and out of the seat quickly, and I was kind of coming in to clean things up and really help move the organization back to sustainability and growth. And we were able to do that and so much more. And so in the 5 years I was there, we grew our cash position 113%. We grew net assets by 381%. This was all during COVID too. And we really streamlined our volunteer processes. We grew our volunteer recruitment, which was a huge need coming in, and also did some really cool program innovation while we were there. We're able to bring in some police mentoring program for the community, and that was something that was identified, through the process that I'm talking about putting you guys through, that we went through as an organization, and helping to meet the needs of our community. And so, and I'm also a busy wife, a mom, and I'm doing it all too. And so I know what it's like to be in your shoes. So I do this because I believe in the work. I know from experience that small nonprofit leaders are not getting the training and support they deserve for a variety of reasons. Not enough time, not enough money, but there's also just not a lot of training that's really dedicated and directed to us. And so I think that's totally outrageous and unfair. And 70% of nonprofits are small, and we have different needs and we do things differently. We're gritty and we're resourceful, and we need training and programming that understands us and the way that we're set up. And so that's what this is set out to do. I also understand our big hearts can burn us out. I've been there. I've lived it. And so I really believe that we need a more holistic way of supporting leaders so that this doesn't happen, because we need you in these seats. We need you to do this work, to be strong and to sustain yourself so that we can solve these big problems in our world and we can come together and make a difference. And so that's what drives me. And I really want to prove to you, because I had to prove this to myself, that you don't have to quit your job to find balance, that you can have this leadership role, this you can carry this role and still, make it to your kids' soccer games, like cook when you get home and not feel like it's an obligation, work out in the morning, have a social life. Like, it's all possible, and love what you do. It's possible. And so why now? Well, really, this is kind of a question you need to be asking yourselves. What is this worth to you? What is your time and money worth to you? Because that's truly what this boils down to. Can you figure this out on your own? More than likely. All of the material and all of the learning that I went through is available. You can take leadership courses, certification programs. You can read the dozens of leadership books that I read. I'm happy to tell you about all of them if you want to talk to me about some of the most influential books I read. You can go through your own therapy and work on yourself personally in that way. But it's about, do you want to do this faster, better, and more tailored to you and what you're going through? Do you want to save time and do you want to save money? How bad do you want to see these changes happen in your life quickly? And so that's what it boils down to. And I'm really excited to be able to offer this to you. I believe in this program. I've lived this program, and I'm excited to teach it. So if you are interested in hearing more about it, have questions, or want to find out more if this is a good fit for you, then set up a call with me. I have a link to set up a 15-minute, 30-minute mini session, and it's no pressure. If you're not a good fit, I can help steer you in the direction of maybe other resources that might be a good fit. But if you are, wonderful. I'd love to work with you. So um, let me know, and I'm here to answer questions and be of service. I have so much gratitude and respect what you do. I wish you all the best, and peace and love. Take care.